If you want to get in contact with me, the best way to do it is on Instagram. If you just want to say what up, if you want to tell me you love my videos, you can tell me that you hate my videos, but the best way to do that is on Instagram. Peace, y'all. Jonny Fastlane here. So, Juice WRLD's entourage may not be doing any time for the 70 pounds of weed they found on a private jet. And Meek Mill talks about his battles with drugs. Plus, NBA YoungBoy is off probation. Let's talk hip-hop. As y'all know, Juice WRLD had a seizure about a week ago now in the airport, and he just died, right? The whole situation is there's a lot of rumors and a lot of speculation around exactly what happened, right? Some people said that he overdosed, that he just loves doing drugs, and that he took a little bit too many pills and he overdosed. Other people say that he was scared because there was a bunch of pills in there and, you know, pounds of weed under the airplane and everything. There was 70 pounds of weed that the FBI found. And then people are saying that he just tried to swallow all the pills so he wouldn't go to jail for those pills because they were his, right? I didn't really think that was true. I'm like, why the hell would you do that when you could take two and just let your homeboys take a couple or whatever? Like, you ain't got to take all the damn pills, right? And then also, you know, Juice WRLD is the asset, right? He is the money maker, right? So now that Juice WRLD is gone, everybody in his crew, they're probably going to end up being broke or back in the hood because he was the one that was kind of, you know, he's the cash cow or whatever the case may be, right? So I'm like, why would they let him take all the pills? Why didn't this nigga take all the pills or whatever? Why didn't we get, you know, a report saying, yo, Juice WRLD's friend overdosed on drugs or whatever the case may be, right? But the whole situation is, regardless of why Juice WRLD took a bunch of pills, he did, right? And he also had a heart attack, or not a heart attack, he had a seizure and he died, right? Which is horrible and crazy, right? The whole situation though is then afterwards, you know, the FBI says, you know, they found 70 pounds of pills on the plane. They found 3 guns on the plane, or his entourage had 3 guns. So 2 people got arrested, which was Juice WRLD's bodyguards. And yes, they did have 3 guns on them collectively, right? But the charges for the guns, I think, are going to be dropped, and those men have been released from jail because those guns were actually registered, and the men that had those guns were licensed to carry the guns. So, you know, hired help, and that's cool, right? So a little misunderstanding, and they ain't probably going to go to jail or nothing like that, right? But the whole situation is there still was 70 pounds of weed on that plane too, right? But the FBI basically said that there is no way to determine, even if they check fingerprints, even if they check DNA samples, right? There's no way to determine whose weed that was. It's just no way, right? And then so they decided to turn that case over to the state of Chicago instead of prosecuting it, you know, the FBI and the feds and everything like that. And the state of Chicago basically said, you know, it's a non-issue, man. It's going to cost a lot of money for them to figure out whose weed it was. And again, it's nearly impossible because if there's 10 people on the plane, you know, they could say it was the pilot's weed, right? They could say it was this dude's weed. They could say it was that dude's weed. And at the end of the day, if Juice WRLD's fingerprints is all over it, they could say it was Juice WRLD's weed, and Juice WRLD's not even alive, right? So why go forward with the case? So it seems like everybody else who was on that plane, who was there when all the weed was discovered, they're scot-free, free to go, right? Which is dope and cool, and thank God, because I don't want to see no young person, white or black or Hispanic, be locked up for, you know, marijuana, right? So, okay, that's good, right? Other than that, I guess we'll see really what's going on with Juice WRLD, right? Nobody knows officially why he passed away, but we know why he passed away, right? There's no toxicology report available yet, but again, like I said, we know why he passed away, right? We know he overdosed on pills. The reason for taking those pills, we don't know. If he just wanted to get high, if he was just tweaking, if he was like, yo, we lit, or if he was scared and thought he was gonna get arrested for the weed. We don't know that part, and I guess we'll never know. Maybe we will, but we'll see what happens, right? Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments down below.
I never disclose it, never. I tell them I'm taking 10-30s Percocets a day. You walking with dust.
God dang.
Yeah, real shit. Crazy shit.
All right, so that was Meek Mill, right? And that was an interview that he did with Charlamagne yesterday, right? And basically he was talking about, well, it came out yesterday. It was probably yesterday because they was talking about Juice WRLD, right? So basically Charlamagne asked him about Juice WRLD and said, like, have you had any any scares ever when you were on pills, because Meek Mill did speak about on the Breakfast Club a couple years ago, actually, his battle with Percocet and everything like that, right? It was like right around his 30th birthday when he basically was like, yo, I'm 30 now, I gotta stop doing these pills and everything, I'm wilding, and I just want to be clean for myself, right? He also said that the reason why he started doing pills is just because since he was on probation for so long because of Judge Brinkley, he couldn't smoke, right? So he had to do something that at least he could get high, and it's, you know, prescription drugs. So if he has a prescription for it, then bada bing, bada boom. Of course I pissed dirty, or not dirty, but you know, of course Percocet showed up. But anyway, right? So basically Meek Mill was talking about it, and he's like, listen, man, I had to stop making that decision, taking the decision of taking the pills for myself, right? So, you know, Charlamagne asked him, was it like somebody in your team that told you to stop taking it, or, you know, what was it? Did you like end up in the hospital? And he was just like, you know, I just sat back and I thought about it one day, and I just said to myself, like, my decision making is not all there. It's not all what it could be, right? And then he gave a couple things as an example, right? So one of the examples that he gave was how he's a millionaire, right? He happens to be in the hood, maybe he's chilling with his family, shooting a music video, whatever, right? And somebody says something to him on the gram or Twitter, and they from the hood, and he knows that they from his hood, so he be all in the hood looking for him, like, where you at? Like on some rah-rah type shit, but he's a multi-millionaire in the hood trying to, you know, fight or run down or do whatever to somebody in the streets, right? So he was like, that decision making didn't make any sense, and he couldn't really tell you why at all that he was doing that, so he had to stop. He also said, to this day, people ask him, to this day, people ask him, like, why did you diss Drake on the song? Like, why did you come at Drake? Why was that a whole thing? And he was like, I do not know, right? And he said that was probably another byproduct of just being on Percocet and being high all the time, right? He said that a lot of people want to say that the reason why he dissed Drake in the first place was because Drake and Nicki Minaj were together before him, but he was like, he already knew that. He knew they had a relationship before him. He knew that they knew each other before him, so why would it just be that one reason that he would then snap and just go at Drake, right? He said, so it has to be something deeper than that. He can't point out a single reason why he did it, so it must be the pills, right? And that's why he stopped, right? Honestly, I think that Meek Mill probably just became a little bit more mature. For me, it was a couple things that I think it was Meek Mill, right? One, I think that Meek Mill stopped messing with Nicki Minaj, and that's when he stopped messing with the pills too, because, you know, Nicki and Meek was doing pills together. But anyway, so, and then also, I kind of feel like Meek Mill just became a little bit more mature. Right now, he's like 33, 34. At that time, he was 30. He was like 28, 29, you know, going hard. But he was 30 years old when he actually did that interview on the Breakfast Club and was like, yo, I'm gonna chill out, I'm gonna stop. That was like 2016, 2017, you know? And I just think that, I mean, not everybody gets mature and decides to stop, you know, doing crazy shit. Some people do it until, you know, they're super old, like Charlie Sheen, but Meek Mill's not one of them, right? And then also he said that, look, there are billionaires out there. He's never seen a multi-billionaire drug addict, right? And if you think about it, it's true. Dr. Dre, don't smoke, don't drink, close to being a billionaire. Jay-Z, don't smoke, don't drink, billionaire, right? 50 Cent, don't smoke, don't drink, you know, millionaire. Not a billionaire, but has mad money, right? One of the only successful people, I mean, Snoop Dogg, but he smokes weed, right? He don't do like crazy drugs, right? So again, yeah, you know, Snoop smokes, but he don't pop Percocet, right? Or sniff coke or anything like that, right? So I guess, you know, and Meek Mill still smokes weed too, you know what I'm saying? Or he smokes weed again because for a long time he wasn't smoking, right? So it's all of that, right? Which, you know, is smart, and honestly, you cannot be super successful and be under the influence of any kind of substance, yo. I mean, that's just what it is, right? Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments.
Your probation's been terminated. How you feel about that right now?
Kind of scared, but it feel good.
Now, the judge made reference to the fact that she says that you have people around you that she says aren't good for you, they don't have your best interest at heart. How did it feel to hear that from the judge? What are you thinking about that?
Watch out. I just feel like I gotta watch out more and take what she said in consideration.
And do you plan on moving out of Baton Rouge or staying in the area?
I'm finna leave now.
And Shade Room was reporting that you have a child on the way. Is that true?
Yeah.
Are you excited? How's it feel? Boy, girl, which one?
It's a girl.
Are you excited?
I'm overexcited.
Okay, and what do you want to say to your fans that have been supporting you throughout this whole thing, and now they see that you're a free man? What do you want to say to them?
Thank you for sticking with me.
Alright, yo, this is dope, right? So NBA YoungBoy has a chance at a second life, period, right? So NBA YoungBoy kind of reminds me of Kodak Black, right? Both these dudes is from the South. Both these niggas is real street dudes, right? Both of them, you know, I mean, they come from the trenches, so it's a little tough for them to like be proper and be regular and, you know, the stuff that they've seen, you know, a grown man would cry, you feel me? Like NBA YoungBoy and Kodak Black were literally at war in their own respective hoods, right? Even though they're not from the same hood at all, they're not even from the same state, right? One's from Louisiana, one's from Florida, right? But the whole situation is that NBA YoungBoy has a second chance on life, right? He was getting in a lot of trouble in the past, right? He was on probation for, you know, some drive-by shooting that he was involved in. The judge locked him up for a couple of months. He got out, right? There was another shooting that happened, you know, at Rolling Loud. NBA YoungBoy was involved, but he wasn't involved as being the aggressor. He was actually involved as like being the victim, and his girlfriend at the time actually got shot too. She got like shot in the arm, was a flesh wound, but still his girlfriend at the time got shot, right? And they were aiming for NBA YoungBoy, and the person that was standing right next to him was her, so that bullet could have been for him and it could have ended his complete life, right? At that time, you know, he was free for a couple of months, but then the judge in Louisiana locked NBA YoungBoy up and said, nah, bail denied, you got to do some time, right? And he did a couple months in jail, but then they let him go, right? They said, listen, we're gonna let you go out on house arrest or on probation for 1 year, right? If you can pass that 1 year probation, then it's all good. We're gonna give you a second chance, right? So NBA YoungBoy got out. Ever since he got out of jail a couple months ago, maybe like 2 or 3 months ago, he's been chilling, staying out of trouble, released some good music, been on house arrest, you know, just doing his thing, right? But he had court today, and it's crazy because the judge let him off probation today, right? Early. So now he's clear, he's good, he's off papers, he can smoke a pound of weed if he want, and he's good to go, right? But with this freedom comes responsibility because, you know, I mean, he's going to be able to travel and do shows and go out the country and stuff like that. So obviously he's going to have to kind of, you know, just, I guess, practice self-discipline, right? But I think at this point, I think NBA YoungBoy has learned his lesson. So, you know, the reporter asked him, hey, NBA YoungBoy, seems like you are off probation now. How do you feel, right? He said, I feel a little scared, but I'm also happy, right? And I think that's good that he's a little scared because he will try hard not to make another mistake, right? He's still young though. He's still YoungBoy, right? But at the same time, happy because, of course, everybody wants their freedom, right? They also asked him about a baby that was on the way. He said, yeah, I got a baby on the way. I'm super happy. I'm having a little girl, all of that, right? And this is cool, right? Because NBA YoungBoy is talented. He has dope-ass music. He's one of them real-ass niggas. He don't really, like, troll or cap a lot. We're not talking about, you know, Slim Jesus or somebody who perpetrates and portrays a certain lifestyle. We're talking about a nigga who really came up in the trenches, right? Somebody that's respected in the streets too, right? So this is cool, man, and I'm happy for NBA YoungBoy, and I just want to see him be super successful, right? I want him to be a success story, right? And you got a whole second chance to start right from here to be exactly that, right? So, hey man, shout out to NBA YoungBoy, and I pray for the best for him, yo. Let me know what y'all think about this and everything else in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Follow me at Jonny Fastlane on Instagram, and y'all already know what to do. Peace.